I'm your host, Brian Goodine, and I'm joined by my co host, Mr. Keith Jones. As iron sharpens iron, so should men sharpen men. We are here to enlighten, inspire, and relight that fire called self. So come on, pull up a chair, sit for a while, for truth is always on the menu. We now join the program, already in progress. Well, good evening. We're here at the Iron Table, where iron sharpens iron, so does men sharpen men. Today, we are going to be talking about manhood. Um, it's a topic that is, I mean, all three of us. If I add the fourth person, I'm not sure if he's going to be on here too long. The way his technology's going, um, it's a question that we get all the time. You get it at the barbershop. You might get it at home. You might get it at your job. What is manhood, and who gave that definition of manhood? So before we get into that, I am your host, Brian Goodine. I'm at the bottom. The bottom left is co-host Keith Jones, and we're fortunate to have our other brothers, the originators of the Iron Table, Jamar Moore to my right, and Danny Williams to the bottom right.
Why you gotta say bottom like that?
Because you're on the bottom. That's why. You know why. Those comments that we couldn't put on air, about my lighting. We couldn't put it on air. So that's why you're on the bottom right. So what is manhood? And I'll ask each of you that same question. What is manhood? Where did you come up with that definition, or who brought you to that definition? And when you hear that topic, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? So
okay. I'm gonna start it off. All right. When I first hear manhood, or someone asks me what is it, I think of a number of things. The first thing I would think is culture, because I think manhood is different in everyone's culture. So depending on your culture, that's going to define what you believe is manhood. And you can go to various parts of the world, various areas of where you live, and there'll be different versions of culture. Of manhood. And then your belief system, what you believe. So you got the culture, and you attach what you believe to that. And then that person can define manhood. I think it'll be very difficult for every one of us to have the same definition of manhood. So I'm gonna give you an example. I've said this to a few people that I've given counsel to for marriage counseling. I tell them my wife doesn't do dishes. I do dishes. And they're like, oh, what? That's crazy, man. You man. I said, look, we got a deal. Her growing up, she's the oldest kid. So her siblings came along later. So she was the main one that did dishes all the time. Hates doing dishes, like she loathes it. So the deal is, all right, you cook, and she can cook. You cook, I'll do dishes. Boom, settles it. Some people can look at that and go, well, a man shouldn't do dishes. Like, look, in my home, that's what works. It doesn't mean I'm less of a man because I do dishes. You know what I mean? And I saw this clip of this guy talking about the same kind of topic, where he was saying that his wife will do things. They don't have roles in the home. They do what needs to be done. And the guy he was talking to was like, what do you mean? Well, what happens if you need to change a tire? Your wife gonna do that? He said, well, yeah, she's handy. And the other guy couldn't understand, like, what? So, but that's culture and belief connected. For one guy, it's out of this world. That can't happen. For another guy, it's completely normal. So for me, manhood is kind of broad. It's kind of broad. So I'm gonna leave it there. Let Nanny take it.
Well, first thing I think when you say what is man, I think of Ryan Jeffrey. I don't know if you remember back in the day in Peterson Hall, he had this song. It's called "I Am Man," due to God's divine plan. I am man, peaceful ruler of earth lands. I am man, All I know is the last part. And even when I fell, I was man. That's just always stuck in my mind because it was just such a simplistic but powerful reminder of where we get our manhood from. And for me, as somebody who has subscribed to the Judeo-Christian faith, you can't define manhood without going back to the beginning, and in the beginning, we see God makes man in his image. He's like, so let us make man in our image, male and female, who created them. For this reason, man will leave his father and mother, be united to his wife. The two will become one flesh. And so you have the essence of man being formed in the dust of the ground, and God breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and then man becomes a living soul. So manhood, for me, you can't really define manhood without the context of why man was created in the first place. And that was to be an imager of God. We're supposed to be imaging our creator. And there's 5 things that God gave us to do: multiply, rule, have dominion, all these different things. And, but we're imaging God. And so without God, the God factor for me, there's no manhood, because just like he was sovereign and created us, he designed us to be many versions of him. If that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. What if you don't believe? What if you're not a believer?
I mean, if you're not a believer, respect for those individuals. I was speaking from a personal situation in this scenario, but if in outside of the Judeo-Christian faith, I mean, there are people who won't believe that God necessarily made you. But I still think that there is a certain level of, what's the word I'm looking for? I think there's a certain presence that comes from having a man in the room. That alpha, you respect it.
Yeah.
And it is always intended to be something that allows for healthy relationships to take place with the things and the people that are around us.
Did you all see that report about it? It was a school. I can't remember exactly where it was, but there was a school. It might have been in the South. They were having a lot of violence in the school, kids acting up. I think it was a middle school or high school. And what the fathers decided to do collectively, they were going to be a presence in the school.
Yeah.
And they were up there taking shifts around the clock. You would see them in the hallways. They were talking to students, mentoring to them and all that. And they said all of the incidences went down. All of them. Just because, and what Danny's saying, just the presence of having a man there. Now, that argument could be, well, what if women did it? What if mothers did it? Well, we don't know. We're just talking about this. That was a change in the environment for the kids. And I know growing up with a single mother, any positive male figure that was around, I looked up to.
Yeah.
Because that's what, I gravitated to. And it was always something that you look at and you want to emulate, and you see that as an authoritative figure, but at the same time, not someone that's ruling you as an iron fist. Right. And manhood, everybody has a different definition of it, but I think it is leadership, it's respect, and it is who's laughing?
I'm looking in the chat.
Oh, wow. Keith, okay.
So leadership. Keith just wrote big balls.
Wow.
Really?
Figuratively speaking, just to clean that up, figuratively speaking. But go ahead, Keith. Elaborate on that.
Come on, Keith. Yeah. We've been waiting on you.
How is that about manhood?
On you. The world loves to hear what's on Keith's mind. Tell us, Keith.
No, they don't.
How do you really feel?
No, I really was just testing stuff.
We can't hear you very well.
Oh, you can't? Hold on. That's why. Check one.
Move your balls out the way.
We can hear you a little bit.
Hold on.
Well, as
Mm,
Keith
mm.
is getting that together, I do second the that whole presence thing, that took place in the school. And I wanted to say something because I think every one of us was raised by a single mother at some point in time. And I think another question is, can a single mother teach you
Check
how
1
to
2.
be a man? We can hear you now, Keith.
All right, much better, much better.
So we'll turn it back over to Keith. We can come back to that later.
No, I really was just testing stuff out. I was just trying to.
No, you're going to answer the question.
See.
Yeah, that's a good question. Please, somebody go.
Well,
go
so
with
I'll
Friday.
say this.
What defines a man?
Yeah. Well,
What
which
Danny
question we
just
going
asked,
to?
He just asked, can a single mother raise a man?
I didn't say can a single mother raise a man.
What you say?
I said, can a single mother teach a son how to
How
be
to
a
be
man?
a man? Okay.
No.
No,
She can give him. She can give him
no.
portions. She can give him pieces. She can tell her what to expect from a woman's perspective. She can give her theory, but I believe, I always tell couples this, I believe it myself. It takes two to make them, and it takes a village to raise them. So there are certain things that mom can't teach, and vice versa. I think there's certain things that, that dads, as much as we love our daughters, there's some things that moms have to address. That's why it takes the two of us to make them. So she can give him elements. She can tell him what she thinks a man is, but sometimes it takes that. Moms don't like to see their children cry sometimes, and moms are sometimes quick to bail them out.
And that's their role.
And that's their role. They're the comforter. They're the nurturers. And not all moms are like this, but dads, we are known to be the ones that we're going to let you find out. Go ahead and jump.
Don't do it.
You ain't going to jump again.
You about to find out you about to find out how gravity works. And is that wrong? No. But there are certain life lessons that as dads, we do things differently. And is it wrong? No. But sometimes, again, especially I see this with new parents. Mom has her way of how she wants the baby to be handled, how she wants the baby to be fed, how she wants the baby to be changed.
That's like,
and then, and what's so crazy is that sometimes when dads do it their way, they get the results that mom's been trying. How'd you get the baby to sleep? We went on a car ride, or we just went outside. We went for a walk. Like we'll follow the logic. When I take her for a walk, he sleep. So, but mom will try to hold and try to nurture, and then sometimes again, not saying that they. So I'm saying all that to say there are differences, and not that they're good, not that they're better. There are differences, and when it comes to raising a child,
you definitely need a village.
You need a village.
I second that. Yeah. What do you have to say? Peter, you started to say something on the whole single mother piece, and if she can adequately teach her son how to be a man.
Okay, I'll say this. Not 100% agreeing with Keith. I agree with a lot of what he said, but I think that if your mother saw an example of a good father in her household, then she would be able to pass that on to her son, even though she's a single mother. So my mom grew up with my grandfather, who we just, married. She saw that growing up. She saw a man that went to work every day, treated his wife well, never said a mean thing to his wife out of his mouth, was always respectful, hardworking, God-fearing man. She saw that. And so in her mind, it was, all right, well, this is what my sons need to emulate growing up. And I can give them that.
Was it her giving you that, or was it you seeing that? And
I was going to say
both.
That was the theory that I was talking about. She can give theory. She's experienced it. She lived it. She can give the concept, but actually being able to go to your grandfather and say, how do you do that? And getting it from the tap, getting it from the man himself, saying, how do you run that fast at 60 years old?
But see, here's the thing though. Not everybody has the example around them.
True.
And I can't say that if a man is absent, then a woman can't show or teach them things, because we talk to a lot of people all the time,
True.
you know, and they have not had a male figure in their life, but they know what it takes to become a man. I said this one time to somebody. I was like, look, man, I didn't have my dad growing up, and he taught me a lot of things without being there. He taught me what not to do.
Yes.
So I did the opposite
Of
with my
everything.
kids, and it has worked very well. I wanted
True.
to be
But
in
if
their
he
life.
tells you, okay, but the question
ahead.
is,
No,
if
no,
he
go ahead.
tells you, if he tells you the opposite by not being there, where's the how to do it the way that he didn't do it? Like, where's
That's where the
the
village comes
steps?
from, what Danny was talking about. That's what
Okay.
the village comes from, because I had my
Yeah, keep
grandfather
going.
in my life. I had
Uncles,
my brothers, uncles, church members, a lot of church people,
Yeah.
teachers,
that you look at. And then when we got to
coaches.
school, coaches, we got to school, all of us had Pastor Johnson, who was a father figure to like all of us, even the brothers that had a father growing up. He was
Right.
a father figure to all of us, and he's a man's man.
True that.
You know what I mean? So that's the village part that kicked in. And one of my friends, all of us know Randy Scott back in the day. He and I were real tight coming up. We were a lot younger, and we were at church one day, and my tie came untied, and I was like, "Oh man, I can't tie my tie." Randy was like, "What? Let me show you, man." And he taught me how to tie a tie.
Nice.
As he was doing it, I remember sitting there going, "Dang, is this how this is supposed to work?" my boy teaching me how to tie a tie.
Yeah.
And it made me think about, oh man, that's an element in my life that was not there. I didn't have a dad to teach me to tie a tie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my grandmother taught me.
Yeah.
And they can teach you stuff like that. Now, the things that I'm specifically referring to, like I'll just go right to it, you know, in terms of manhood and the limitations of what a single mom can teach, is I don't know that she can teach you experientially how to interact with her own kind. She can give the theory, but until you see it, until you're able to, you know, wait a minute.
You have an example.
Come on.
You have an example.
I don't know that it would. I mean, y'all help me out.
All right. There's so many examples to pull from.
Exactly.
So a woman trying to teach. Okay. We're supposed to be taught to be gentlemen, right?
Right.
Yes.
And what a woman can teach you, a mother, let me stick to that. What a mother can teach her son is what a kind and gentleman should do with a woman, what he should not do. Like, for example, if you're out with a woman, let's say you're dating, you're out with a woman, and she goes to the door and just stops.
Well, you open the door.
You open the door, right? Some people aren't taught that.
No, they're not. They don't.
A mother can teach her son that, hey, look, open the door for a woman. And I know this for a fact that my wife told my daughter, if you go out with a guy and you walk up to the door and you stop at it and he doesn't open it up,
don't go back out with that guy.
Now, hold on. I want to put, I think it's safe to say this because my daughter actually did date a guy who didn't do it. And he didn't do it because his dad never showed him. And so I legit had a conversation with this kid, like, bro, if you don't, like, this ain't working. And he was like, my bad, Mr. Wayne, I didn't know. And from that, I asked my daughter, I was like, okay, did he fix it? She's like, yeah, all the time, you know, now. So you never know what even people who have that person in the home, have given. And sometimes it's just that iron sharpening iron. So I grabbed him. I let him know, look, I didn't necessarily think that was very admirable of him. And if he intended on continuing to date my daughter, she's used to this because that's what I told her to look for. And he fixed it, but he could only fix it when he had somebody to just, shoot straight with him and give it to him.
Man, y'all so nice. I don't know.
But it could have been his mom. His mom could have given it to him too. You know what I mean?
So you see that question? Can manhood be taught and developed at adulthood?
Expect from a guy. You know, I expect certain things from a guy. You know what I mean? Last night, my wife heard a sound. She heard some knocking. It's like 1:30.
You better go get it, right?
Who going to check?
Who the closest to the door?
You know, I'm not gonna say who closest to the door. Go ahead and see what that is. No,
go ahead, baby.
I grabbed a roll of you know those plastic wraps. You wrap your food.
Why I got plastic
plastic
wrap? Never mind. I don't want to
listen.
know.
I went to the kitchen, man. Listen, I went to the kitchen. I grabbed a roll of the plastic wrap.
But you didn't say that in the first part of the story. Did you open the drawer, or was it already by the nightstand?
We don't want to know.
See, y'all need to take y'all minds out together. I went to the kitchen first, man.
That's the marriage bed. It's
I
not
grabbed
in the
It's undefiled by saran wrap, man. You good?
And I walked around the house ready to bash somebody's head in. You know what I mean? Now
with some saran wrap.
That's something that you do as a man. That's what you do. Some cultures, maybe that's not the thing, but that's what we understand.
So what are things in manhood that you do not do? I mean, that's not it, because you said no, if somebody tries to break in, you're the first one, you're the first line of defense. If there's a sound, first line of defense, opening doors. I guess if you're going out, if you act like, for me, I know if I ask my wife out, or when we were dating, if I asked her out, I would be paying for it. Didn't matter what happened. You know, I need to make sure I have enough to cover it. But what are certain instances where, you know, society says that's manhood, but it really isn't manhood? That's just, you know, either being nice or.
And we talked about some of this in the pregame, you know, putting your hands on a woman. You know, men do not put their hands on a woman, is what was fed to me. Now, I've got a question for y'all in light of what Brian just said. And there's a friend of mine who pointed out that if a woman knows that you're never going to hit her back, she's going to put her hands on you. And I was just like, is that true? You know, is that? But then I started thinking about some of the nice guys that I know. And I'll just say there have been multiple incidents where they've had hands put on them. And it's like, okay, is that relevant? Is that? I've seen some dudes go toe to toe.
But now you get into good guy. Well, nice guy. I'll call it nice guy versus
Dark territory now.
Yeah, now you are because that whole concept of, you know, nice guys finishing last, like, because again, there are a group of guys who were not raised that way. They put their hands on women every chance they get. And as a friend, as a therapist, as just a worldly observer, I have noticed that these women don't ever think like, it's like, no, like they're terrified of this man because they know he will respond in a certain way, versus the guy who, if I tell you where my line is, I'm gonna cross it just to see what happens. And if I know you're not gonna retaliate, if I know you're not gonna defend yourself, I'm gonna keep doing it.
I've seen that play out. I've seen it play out way too many times, which is why I'm posing it here. Because I've never laid hands on a woman. I've always had that in my mind, but I've seen some situations and scenarios, you know, and, you know, where is that line when it comes to manhood? Because through the lens of what it was that Brian just shared, if they know that, you know what, he not gonna do nothing, I'm gonna keep going, I'm gonna keep going. And then a lot of times what happens is dudes snap. And I talked to, you know, Keith used to work in the prison, you know, and you got many stories of dudes that really tried to get out of these situations that didn't have any criminal history, that didn't have any, but it was just like they were just, and then they snapped and now they in jail and the family is what it is. Is it possible to, how does a man, as you understand man, handle those situations?
So let me say this, because I know y'all got, I can see y'all just chomping at the bit, and y'all have stories, y'all have had situations, but I'll say this. I've never a woman hitting a man, how much could that really hurt?
It hurts.
So how much? No, but hold on, listen to me, because I know you want to respond. But how much could that hurt to where versus you hitting her? Like a woman's force might be a 10.
No,
your force might be a 25.
Nah.
That's not the point.
It's still that's not the point.
That's not the point.
That's not the point.
Let me say this, man.
Go ahead.
I got a couple of points to make. Okay, let me let you
make them.
First thing, when you watch a movie and a couple was arguing and a woman says, "Oh, you jerk," bam, slaps the guy. No one blinks. They're like,
Dumb and
"Oh."
Dumber.
No one blinks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But same movie, same two people arguing, and the guy says, "Bam!" Everybody goes, "Oh, snap!"
Yeah.
You know, because culturally, there's a dynamic that a woman hitting a man is acceptable, a man hitting a woman is unacceptable. But both of them are unacceptable. That woman can put out my eye, just like I can put out her eye. So the best thing to do, the best rule to have is no one hits.
Keep your hands to yourself.
This is the second point. I saw a guy say in a post one time, he was like, look, when it comes to men hitting women and women hitting men, he said, look, I'm a grown man. I'm 6'1", 250 pounds.
Yeah.
But I am not going to walk up to a lion and smack it in the face. Because I know that lion can rip me apart. So we have to teach. I got to teach my sons not to hit women. I got to teach my daughters don't hit men.
So let me come to you right fast, Pete. So your son, he's in a relationship with a girl, and they get into it, and she's pounding him. She's taking it to him. She might even grab a knife. Like what? Where are talk to me.
The line is, all right, if you're in a tussle with a woman and she grabs a knife, she's coming at you.
Defend yourself.
Yeah, you defend yourself.
But you're not hitting. You're not trying to hit her. You're defending yourself.
She's coming to kill you. You don't know. You got to defend yourself. Now, if my son is getting beat up by a girl, then look, man, you block it, you get away, you try to get away, because again, I'm going back to what is culturally accepted in our society. Because my son got in a fight with a little girl in elementary school years ago.
But that's acceptable though.
And
at that age, right?
No, hold on. The little girl started it.
Yeah.
And she's throwing blows at him, and he's blocking. The moment he went to hit her back, everybody wants to stop.
Yeah.
He didn't hit her. He didn't hit her. When he went like this, she backed off.
Right.
But with her throwing blows,
is that all we need to do?
But
no.
I'm just we have to the area, because I'm about to flip the script on a second.
Yeah.
We have to be careful, more careful with us.
We do.
As physical, stronger beings than women, we have to be more careful. Are they excused? No, they're not. So I'm gonna flip it real quick.
Flip it.
When a woman is with a guy getting down, right? She has to be more careful than the guy. She has much more to lose. Okay. The moment she says, stop.
You stop. Yeah, you stop.
Yeah.
We learn.
Gotta stop.
You gotta stop.
Right?
Yep.
Gotta stop. What happens when he doesn't stop? He keeps going.
Flag on the play.
Right. Now, when this same woman goes to report this or say something, oh, I was sexually assaulted, I was hurt. What's one of the first questions somebody's going to ask her? What were you doing? What were you wearing?
Oh, that's not right. Man.
That's not right.
That's immaterial.
Like, whoa, what do you mean? What was I doing without wearing?
She said stop.
I told that dude to stop. He didn't stop.
Stop.
Yeah, what's your history like? Are you promiscuous? What's that got to do with anything?
Wait a minute,
you see how it's not fair?
Lost connection.
There are cultural things. Let me just say this: society. There are things in our society
minor technical difficulties.
Not fair, men and women. And when it comes to stuff like that, women get a bad rap. We automatically start to blame the victim. Oh, your skirt was too short. You were flirting too hard. You had too much to drink.
Hey, fellas, can you hear me?
Not an excuse to do something like that to a woman. It's not. But they always get blamed for being
Looks like
attacked.
technology
Yeah,
is having
can I-
an issue.
What changes
You are,
that?
you are right, but
Can you hear
kind
me?
of, yes, we can hear you, B. But kind of like you said a few minutes ago, I think there are times that we need to ask the right questions. And I'm saying this from a perspective of working in the prison where I'm hearing stories that, I'm hearing the contrast that the police didn't hear because all they heard was you said no and he touched you and now he's going to jail. But in some cases, there have been, because I don't think they should be blamed or like you said, or shamed into, like, because some women are, again, they didn't ask for it, but well, no one asked for that. But there are some situations where, because it's a tough line where some hard questions have to be asked. I'm not saying that these women should be blamed, but we sometimes paint this image that every woman is a good, upstanding woman.
Now that's a piece of
and every man and in the court system, because even look at most not paternity but custody situations.
Mm-hmm.
Traditionally, custody goes to the mother, no matter how good, bad, and like no matter who she is. So when dealing with certain situations like rape, there's so many cases that have been overturned because they either started doing rape kits or doing certain things where the story didn't add up. So some women have been questioned, I know, because it was just certain things that just didn't seem right in their story. But the ones that were violated, oh yeah, absolutely. But I want to go back to
let's bring it back
earlier. Bryant said something earlier where he mentioned the dynamics of men and how it doesn't hurt when physically assaulted, because that's what it is. If that's the case, I'm looking at it from this perspective, and this is one perspective I teach on. If we get to use our superpowers, because women actually get to use their words, their communication, the things they say to us cut deeper than, like, that's what actually hurts us. It's not the physical. The verbal is what does the damage to most of us men. So if you look at it from that perspective, why couldn't we, if we're going to use our strengths, then wouldn't it be justified for us to come physically? And the answer naturally is no.
Yeah.
But both are wrong.
I was saying I definitely see where you're going with that, and lending credence to both perspectives there. I'm pointing on the screen like everybody can see, that I'm there, but ignore me there. In the context of manhood, we kind of got sidetracked on abuse, but I think where we were going is, how does a man govern himself in those tough situations when he does have to, hold back? And I think one of the big things that I used to teach in Bible was that Jesus was meek. He wasn't weak. There's a difference. There's a difference between meekness and weakness. Jesus had strength. Jesus said, you know what? No man takes my life. I have the power to lay it down and power to raise it back up. He had strength. He said, I could call, a legion of angels, 12,000 legions of angels. And, this is he had strength, but he opted not to use it. And so this, to me, is part of that, that the essence of manhood. You have the strength, you could do more, but it's strength in check. It's strength that recognizes, that there's a time for everything and a season for every activity. And it's better to have the strength and not use it than to lord over and manhandle your way into, I'm the man of this house. I'm the, I just wanted to bring that up.
No, that's a good point. And I think that what I was doing with that whole scenario, I was trying to create how the differences are complicated for both sides. And since we're talking about manhood, we can speak to manhood and what it requires of us to be like in all relationships that we're in. I think, taking the example of Jesus was fair and he was firm. He didn't stray away from the truth, but he gave it in love. This is a man who could tell you that you're doing wrong, but you wouldn't feel bad about it. You'd feel like, oh man, he's telling me this because he loves me. And I think that's what we're called to be as men. We're supposed to be like Christ. And here's the crazy thing, man. Men and women are supposed to be Christ-like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Men and women. Now, when we start to separate the two, I think that's where we have some problems, because as a man, my role is to be Christ-like.
Here, let me just interject right there, real fast. And I mean to hijack it on this one issue, but I know of way too many people in this situation and in this scenario. And I was just reading today. I actually just sent this article to a friend of mine about Courtney Clenny. Y'all know about Courtney Clenny? Apparently, some OnlyFans model who is now arrested for murder. You know, she murdered her boyfriend, who looks like us, and she's a
Caucasian
who doesn't look like us. And there's a video of. Was I not supposed to say that?
I don't know.
I don't know anymore.
We canceled season 1. No. Go ahead.
Let's go.
She's an attractive white woman, Caucasian woman.
Okay.
You know, and you can edit that out if we need to.
No, it's too late.
I love
Caucasian.
What's wrong with
Caucasian?
No, we keep going back to it. Just finish the story. Finish the story.
She killed the brother, and what happened?
No, but the thing was, and I haven't really looked into it in detail, but I did see a video of them in an elevator, and she's just coming at him, and she's just railing on him. She's just like, you know, trying to beat the snot out of him, and he's a big dude, and you can see him trying to, you know, keep her back and trying to restrain her and trying to, just kind of get the situation under control. And now he's dead. So how do we? What are some of the guideposts that we can give to men who might be in that situation in the context of manhood? Because it's a very real scenario. I know far too many guys who are in situations where, you know what, I'm not going to hit her back, but
you can,
you know, when she's mad, it's not out of bounds for her to hit me. And if that's not out of bounds, what's to say there's not another line that's called
leave?
We're all saying leave.
Yeah, you leave. That's a toxic relationship. You leave.
Yes, leave.
One time I was like, okay, bad.
To a woman, if a woman's getting beat by a man, everyone would say you need to leave.
Yes.
If a man's getting beat by a woman, you need to leave. Hitting is.
I've heard a number of guys. I've even heard situations where the police showed up and they were responding to the guy like, "Yo, you."
That's most calls. Most calls they'll look at it like you can't control her.
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
You called me for this.
I don't care.
Yes.
I don't care what they got to
Yes.
say. If I'm getting beat in my face, I don't care what they got to say. Because if the situation is reversed, I'm going to jail.
You are quick, fast, in a hurry.
Mm-hmm.
So
Now I've had a situation.
No questions asked. There are no questions.
So in that situation, to keep myself safe, I'm leaving. I'm getting out of there.
Well, I need to bind him.
That's it. I'm getting out of there.
He tried
Now I've had a situation where a
calling police more to keep themselves safe. I've had a client that was beat up by a woman.
Yeah,
he called the police, and he was the one with marks all over him. And they still asked her if she was okay.
Yeah, she was okay.
Well, see, like, no, I got a story where I was the guy, and it was a lady, and someone had called. There was an altercation, and they were going to take her away because, you know, this is, I think, when I just had my first knee surgery, and I'm in a little leg brace, so I can't do anything. And I just told him, I was like, no. I'm not trying to ruin someone else's life. They're going to have a record. I just want my stuff so I can go home. So there are stories where, women are the aggressor and they can be dealt with. There are some women that are in, jail for, assault. But like, Jamar said, leave. If it's happening so many times, just leave.
Yeah, leave. That's not a relationship you want.
That's codependency if you stay.
Yeah, if you stay now, you're accepting the abuse. You're
But
saying,
but
hit me
again,
I
again, working in the correction system, seeing guys, and I've had the chance to ask guys in the prison, why didn't you leave? Or guys who came back because it happened again.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to leave. Nope, she got my kids. Or there's some, and it's the same thing, because women are in the same predicament. There's abusive men, and for the same reason, they find a reason to go back. But it's easier said than done. And for us, I think for men, it has to be normalized.
You still gotta go. You still gotta go.
Yeah, I think the key is having the conversation, because I know the guys who are in those situations, they're embarrassed to talk about it.
Oh heck yeah.
They're embarrassed.
Why?
Because you got this 5'3" woman.
Yeah,
putting this work. You coming in with all these marks on you, and again, you know how we guys are.
If I told you,
what's embarrassing about keeping yourself out of jail? What's embarrassing about that?
Ain't nothing embarrassing
about that part.
I chose not to punch her in the face, so it keeps me out of jail. So yeah, she beat me up, but I'm here. I'm free.
See,
I'm out the house.
Point exactly. Yeah,
so you can make fun of me all you want to. Call me a lot, but don't call me in prison.
Right. I don't have no number.
I don't got no number, and I don't need no Vaseline, bro. I'm good. I'm free.
Really, the Vaseline?
Beat me up, I'm leaving.
I'm free.
I'm gone.
But in our culture,
like my son. It's funny my son did this.
But hold up, in our culture, the first response is going to be laughter. If I told y'all that, y'all all remember Randallin. If I told y'all that Randallin hit me, y'all be like, what? She ain't even 5 feet. How's she gonna hit you?
Nah, dog,
that's exactly what y'all would say.
Yeah, but maybe because that's the cultural acceptance of a woman hitting you. It's like, oh man, you can take it. But now that we are wiser, older and wiser, okay, and we got to work the next day, I'm not trying to sit there and get my eye beat, my mouth beat up, and all that stuff. No, I'm leaving. Okay. But your kids, yo, my kid's not gonna sit here and watch me get beat up. I don't want my sons seeing me get beat up by a woman, and then they think that's acceptable. That's acceptable. No.
Can we just say get out on 3? 1, 2, 3. Get out.
It's like
you've seen the movie. Get out. Run.
Get out. Because that's what I would tell my daughter.
Yeah. All right.
If my daughter's getting beat by a dude, the first thing I say is get out and then bring me the key. So I can go
take care of it.
You know what I mean? Get out.
Yeah. All right, fellas. So we gotta wrap this up because it's late. I need to go get something to eat. All I had were some pretzels. Each of us got 1 minute to kind of sum this up and what you want, others who will hear this, later on, what you want them to get out of this.
Oh Lord.
Outside of get out, because I know that someone's going to say that, just get out. Manhood. If you had to sum it up in a sentence, what would you say?
I would say manhood is about respecting yourself, respecting others, and keeping God first. That's what I would say.
I'll come and piggyback off of him since we're going counterclockwise and say it's imaging the all-powerful God and creator of the universe.
Are we going to a mountaintop or something?
Take a verse, boy. No, I'm a piggyback on that. It's taken, like you said, realizing that we are created in the image of God, and it is He that defines that role for us. We looking for something that He's already mapped out. He tells us, even as husbands love your wives. And Pastor Nixon broke it down for me many moons ago. Never in the Word does He tell women to love. It's unless He says love in a general term, but He specifically tells us to love, because again, women naturally do it, but it's something that we have to work to show. All of us know that we show. Just being men, our brains process differently. We often act through service. We often act through ways that aren't always understood by women. But being a man means learning more about ourselves as we try to figure that out. So I'm sorry, I went on a Marvel Winans rant.
I just want to let you know that you
with all of it.
But that's beautiful, man.
But no,
and he's still going.
Yeah, leave him with the Winans.
Somebody's with all of us. But no, but being a man has been defined by God, and I believe that the more we draw closer to Him, It defines our purpose.
Woo, that's it right there. That's it right there.
And our identity. That's the word I was looking for.
Boom.
Okay, well, I can't
the
piggyback
golden-
off of
that's
that.
the
'cause that was a
Piggyback
long
off
ride.
of it, Bryant.
That's a long
Yeah.
ride. I'll just say, you know, manhood is a mindset. It's not tied to your anatomy alone. It is a mindset. Just have a mind of peace. Remember who you are. Remember where you are, and remember where you do not want to go. And somewhere in the middle of that will be the truth that gets you through that moment. And finally, Sweet and Gentle Touch will be coming back.
Get out.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks, fellas. Thanks for your time. And, you know, as everyone else, you know, Iron Table, truth is always on the menu. Well, that's it for the Iron Table today. We hope you enjoyed your meal. Don't worry about the bill, for truth is always free. Since you got a free meal, why don't you do something for us? Leave a tip. Tell your family and friends, for there's always room at the Iron Table.
All right.